Welcome back to Academic Market Insights. We are here for a new episode of Floor Tales. We are joined by a special guest that I will let Dr. Rowe introduce. Both of us know him, and it'll be an exciting and happy Floor Tales. Dr. Rowe.
Sure. So yeah, Dr. Demiak and I both have overlapped with Mark Sebastian a little bit professionally. And I think we probably have been in the same place at the same time a couple of times as well. But Mark and I met when I was at the Options Institute. He was embarking on launching something called Option Pit, which is a well-known name now. I think some of the swag behind me on that shelf. I think there's an Option Pit thing back there. One of the cups or something that you gave me at some point. But Mark did start out on the floor like the folks that we have on this program. So Mark, tell us a little bit about your background. We want to know that you went to Villanova, but we also want to know, how you ended up on trading floors. Was it on purpose or by accident? And there are people it's accident.
This is part of the reason why I really liked going to Villanova so much. I was, I'm not a shy person, so I ended up being very friendly with my professors. So my junior year, middle of the second semester, so I haven't signed up for my senior year classes yet. And my professor from financial markets, who I had a great relationship, he's from actually Southern Illinois, he stops me in the hall. I'm walking to class, he stops me in the hall. And he says to me, Mark, Villanova is starting a derivatives course. It's going to be the hardest course in the business school, and you're going to love it. I want you to take it. And so I did. And he was right. And so that up until that point, trading was not really in my, wasn't really in my what I was looking at. My dad was in the bond business for years. I was thinking investment banking, or I could go work on a bond desk, something along those lines. And once I got that taste of understanding kind of the complexities of what goes into futures and options, I was pretty much hooked. Mm-hmm. A company called Group One, which is still in existence, a pretty large market-making firm, they were interviewing at Villanova for their Philadelphia office. Mm-hmm. I went in and interviewed. They offered me a job. I said, I'd love to work here, but can I work in New York instead of Philadelphia? And they said, sure. To my surprise, I started with 22 other trader trainees. During that year-long process, we were clerks. So I was doing everything from, filling orders from at that time, if a trader wanted to sell something, an Amex trader wanted to sell something in Philadelphia or Chicago, I actually had to call a broker in Chicago to execute that order. Couldn't be done electronically. So I would be doing stuff like that, trading on the ISE, which was brand new, and people were like, wow, this electronic market, it's crazy. Or as simple as grabbing lunch for people, right? There were weeks where it was like, congratulations, Mark, your parents dumped, 6 figures into your education so that you can go get lunch for some dude 2 years older than you. But during that process, we would work during the day on the floor, and then at night we had 1 to 2 hours of training every night on top of what we were trying to teach ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so over that year, that 22 was whittled down to 7. So they fired over that period of time 67% of the people I started with. Within a year, there were 4 of us still professionally trading.
And people don't realize that's by design. It's not because they hired a bunch of really terrible people. It's and I know there's a firm in Chicago that usually hires a class of 8, and they pit them against each other and even have their performance up on a scoreboard. And the bottom one gets dropped at the end of each quarter until they get down to 1 or 2. And when I talk about this with undergrads, and that's one of the reasons we want to talk to you guys, is to kind of share with the youth what it was like. I mean, that's that's not having your helicopter parent come in and help you with anything. You are definitely out there on your own. And just one other thing I gotta say, Mark, is you would have lost your mind on a bond desk.
Oh, really?
You are
Yeah.
you are so you belonged on the floor.
I worked for a summer in my dad's bond firm, and they
Okay.
actually offered me a job. But everybody in the company started calling me Junior. And I was just like,
oh God,
under no circumstances will I work here. And now I do want to share something for all of your undergrads that are maybe listening in. So in my class of 22, I went to Villanova. Another guy that was successful went to Fordham. He actually, I just hired him to work with me, believe it or not. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Another one went to Haverford. And there was another an Indiana guy, actually an Indiana grad.
Okay.
And then everybody else went to Ivy League. Columbia, UPenn, Harvard, Yale. Everybody who went to a non-Ivy League school got through the program. The dude that went to Harvard got through the program, and almost unilaterally, all those Ivy League people, except for one Columbia grad and one Penn grad, got axed. So where you go to school is not the determinant of whether you're going to be successful in your career. It's your drive and willingness to learn and how hard you work, and your willingness to kind of not just assume everything's going to be handed to you.
Yeah.
And it worked out for me. It worked out for my buddy Tim that's now working with me. I can't wait for you guys you'll love talking to him.
We want to have him on for sure.
He is going to tell the greatest eating story that you will ever hear in your life. I
have a small question.
Sure.
For our number one fan, what does it mean by the bond desk?
All right. Well, number one fan.
I mean,
this one's coming out to you, number one fan. Okay. So, bond desks are where trading happens in the bond market. There are different segments of the desk. You've got munis, then you've got corporates, and then you've got asset backs, which would be your mortgage backs and your asset backed securities. And they trade, and that desk is responsible for two jobs. One, they're trading their own account to try and make money, buying and selling, but mostly they're getting supply for their sales guys to deliver to the banks. Mm-hmm. So Key Bank may call RBC and say, hey, we're looking for 25 million in mortgage backs, or we want to sell 25 million in mortgage backed securities. The sales guy talking to them goes to the desk and tells them what they need. The bond desk fills it. The sales guy takes a cut out of it and delivers it. And that's how. So the bond guy's trying to make money by making the spread. The sales guy takes a cut off either a commission or sells it to that bank, even a little bit worse, and then the bank takes it. So that is how bond trading works.
It's one of the few markets that and the way that I explain, like if you're watching a show like Industry where they're talking to each other on the phone and doing trades, that's how bonds, for the most part, especially corporate bonds, are still traded. The government bonds are basically an electronic market now, and everybody and their mother wants to start a New York Stock Exchange for corporate bonds, and they just can't figure out how to do it.
Mm-mm. There's just too many layers to it. Yeah.
So cool. All right, funny story time.
Okay.
Tell us something funny that you see you wouldn't tell us ahead of time, but you said it's good.
I mean, there's a couple that are really funny. I always described it being on the floor as going to a 90% all male junior high in terms of the interaction and the dumb arguments. I literally watched two guys get in a fight over who was faster. I'm not kidding you. They went outside and raced.
I'm sure.
And I was surprised by who won.
I'm sure there was a trail of people following them too.
Yes.
With cash out to bet.
All right. So this takes place in 2006. By then we were on the SIBO hybrid system. So I had moved from New York back to Chicago, and because I wanted to be home. Yeah. And I'm trading on the floor. I'm in the General Motors pit, and electronic trading. I was really dialed in when things were moving. Like I'm sitting there just flipping through tabs, making sure my vols are right. Trading at that point is, and still is in a lot of ways, kind of like being a pilot of a fighter jet.
Yeah.
Right. The fighter jet does about 90% of the work, but that 10% of the work is really important in making sure that plane doesn't crash and that it's operating properly. And that's really where what being a market maker is now. You're kind of letting the plane do 90% of the work, and you're working on and you're really managing the risk and managing that 10% to make sure things don't blow up on you. So I'm locked in, and I'm going to move the mic away so that it doesn't blow up in your guys' ears. And all of a sudden someone looks at me and goes, "Yeah!" And and I'm like, whatever, dude. And get back to trading. And then somebody else looks at me and does the same thing. And then another and another. Just, yeah! The next thing you know, everybody in the pit's doing it. Random traders, everybody's walking by looking at me yelling, yeehaw.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So finally, a man who is still a very good friend of mine, we weren't that close at the time, but this ingratiated me to him very much. Matt Benson says to me, so on the floor, everyone called me Seabass. He goes, "Hey, Seabass, come over here." And so I do. He goes, "Look down." I looked down, and someone had taken the time with several trading cards. They're made of cardboard. And they had fashioned spurs made out of cardboard. And they had taped them to the back of my shoes. And so that
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got spurred.
Yeah, you got spurred.
I'd like to say I have two small young males that I'm living with that their big thing right now is saying flippy kai flippy flipper and
excellent job.
I think you were saying junior high kids.
Yes.
Well,
so that was one of my I've got several others, but that's probably my favorite. It was the most harmless but also funny.
Fantastic.
And thank you, Matt Benson, for letting me know so that didn't carry on.
Yeah, you didn't go through the whole day as Cowboy Seabass.
Yeah, exactly.
And just real quick, before we close out on you, why do they call you Seabass? I know why, but
my last name is Sebastian, and then there's a movie where they say kick his a $$ Seabass, and so and my badge was SEB, so it just.
I thought your badge was like SBAS or something like that.
No, SEB. So
SEB. Okay.
Yeah. So
again, another really, really quick question for the number one fan. How do they come up with the names for the badges?
It's really pretty simple. So, number one fan, when you're applying to get your membership on the floor after you've passed your SIBO entrance exam, you can request up to 3 badges for your symbol. SEB was my second choice. My top was MSS, which is my initials. And then I said SEB, and I forget what the last one. I think I put BAS as the last one. And number 2 was available. I was the third iteration of SEB. There had been 2 other SEBs for me, but I'm obviously the now SEB,
the SEB,
right?
Yeah.
So that's how you get your badge.
If you had gotten MSS, everybody would have called you Miss.
They would have.
That's you know true. What? Yeah. So I think you lucked out.
Well, my mom wanted me to be named Andrew. I was actually up until about 8. She was 8 months pregnant. I was going to be Andy.
No, you're not.
And then my mom wrote down the name and then looked at my initials, what they would be, and realized that she had to come up with a new first name.
You're an ass. Take us home, Larissa.
For all of you who are hanging with us, we thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Floor Tales. And Mark, we just can't thank you enough for joining us. And if you haven't already, please hit like. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Remember, my kids really enjoy it, so we appreciate it. Thank you.